Today is going to be very interesting for the likes of this young guy that's coming in midfield. He hasn't played too much football for Kerry. I know he played 2 years minor, 2 years under, so he definitely has some pedigree, but he has been untried at midfield.
Yeah.
But why not, after what happened last week with Fermanagh and what happened with Mayo, give youth its fling, give it a chance and let him off and see how it goes?
OK, gentlemen, well, you know, there's been so much focus of attention on Pádraig O'Shea these past few months, naturally enough. But the man who took over from him in Kerry, Jack O'Connor, has been quietly working away and taking the kingdom to another Munster title this year. Today, however, is another big challenge, and he's been talking about that to Jim Carney.
Well, we're expecting a big performance, Jim. We've trained exceptionally hard for this game. We've had a month since our Munster final replay, so the lads should be well rested. And as I say, we've trained very hard and eased down in the last 9 or 10 days, so the lads should be very fresh and they're really looking forward to it.
Now, everybody who loves Gaelic football is disappointed that Seamus Moynihan hasn't made it for today. Jack, but you have a professional job to do, and I'm sure it opens a door for somebody else.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we didn't have Seamus in the last 2 games in the Munster final and drawn match and replay, so it isn't as if it's been sprung on us overnight, but obviously Seamus is a huge loss, Jim. You know, he's been the heart and soul of the team for the last few years, and he's a big loss, but we're just asking the other lads to step up a few gears now and try to compensate for his loss.
Yeah, Kerry today will be without Seamus Moynihan, as Jack said there, but Dublin, of course, won't be able to call in the services of Desi Farrell. Came on as a sub the last day, went off almost as quickly, I'm afraid, of the bad knee injury. He's also been talking to Jim Carney.
I'd love nothing more than to be out there with the guys, but that won't be happening, and that's the ups and downs of the game. But the right result today will make it that much easier to swallow, you know. On the game itself, well, we're fully aware of the huge challenge that awaits Dublin out here today, but that said, we still have no fear of Kerry. We think if we can up our performance, that there's a victory there for us.
If they up their performance, there certainly is a victory there for the Dubs. But this, of course, Colin, is the big question. If they up their performance, because they're going to have to up their performance in this.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give the Dubs a big boost by saying they have absolutely no chance. But because, you know, you would say that the level of performance by Dublin is sort of skill-wise the last day against Roscommon, I thought was quite poor. Now, if you're a Kerry player, you're looking around and you're saying, you know, we've had so many disappointments over the last couple of years. The way really is clear. If they're going to win in All-Ireland, they really have to do it this year. And this has to be the big game en route to it.
You also have doubts about them.
Yes, I have a lot of doubts about Dublin. I have doubts about their backline, I have doubts about their midfield. I have doubts about Kieran Whelan at centre forward. I thought the game passed him by the last day against Roscommon. I think he has more to contribute to Dublin, maybe not just centre forward. He'd be better off coming onto the ball. But they're again overly dependent on Jason Sherlock and Alan Brogan in the full forward line. And the Kerry have Tom Sullivan and Aidan O'Mahony in there. Now Michael McCarthy has been injured. One wonders how fit he is because he's missed a lot of training. But I think Kerry's defence is strong enough to hold those 2 lads. I don't think they'll win midfield, so I think Kerry have it all going for them here today.
That's the view of the panel. Let's hand over to our commentators then for the second match as Tommy Lyons shakes hands to Pat McNamee, the referee. Best of luck, Pat, says Tommy with a big smile. Martin Carney and Ger Canning in the commentary box.
Yes, there are lots of big smiles around today, in particular Derry smiles, I guess, after that surprising win over Westmeath, who will join them in the semi-finals. Let's check the teams. Tommy Lyons and his selectors make one change from the team that beat Roscommon a fortnight ago. Shane Ryan is preferred to Coleman Goggins at the back, and the restructuring means that Paul Griffin is switched into the corner with the Nev Marnoe player due to start at wing half. Kieran Whelan once again begins on the 40 with Jason Sherlock inside him and about to commence his 38th championship game. Well, there are 2 changes for Kerry, but no Seamus Moynihan, as you've heard. The debut man is midfielder Paddy Kelly, who steps straight up from the under-21 grade. One established senior player, while still playing underage football, of course, is Declan O'Sullivan. He's recovered from injury and plays at centre-half forward. His return means a switch to the wing for Owen Brosnan, while Paul Galvin holds off the challenge of Liam Hassett to start on the other flank. It's the 23rd championship meeting of Kerry and Dublin. Great rivals, of course, all through the 70s in particular, and the record today so far shows that Kerry have won 14 of the clashes, Dublin have won 6. There have been 2 draws, and they tell us it's a sellout at Croke Park, which represents a crowd attendance today of 69,000 people, although I can see a couple of gaps here and there on the extremities. big day for Tommy Lyons. What an awful start to the season it was, losing to Westmeath. Everybody was down on top of him at that stage, but he's rebuilt the side's confidence. They've gone on a little tour of the Midlands in particular. The L plates were out playing the likes of Leitrim, Longford and London, but they're back in Croke Park again, second time in a fortnight now, up against the Kingdom. And Martin, it evokes great memories, as we were saying earlier today, of wonderful clashes, which I'm sure the Taoiseach and Sean Kelly, nice mix of Dublin and Kerry there, by the way, will remember, and remember fondly.
Well, that's indeed that's true, Jared. The Taoiseach in particular seems to be at all these Dublin games. But again, in the past, as we said earlier, they really resurrected football in the 1970s. But today's version, I still think, are very, very good. And Dublin at the moment maybe becoming a little bit dependent on Jason Sherlock and to a lesser extent Alan Brogan. I mean, it's extraordinary to think like that Jason Sherlock was the boom boom boy of 1995, but he's become the Dublin Renaissance man in many ways. Like, it's perpetual motion and energy. The last day in particular against Roscommon was probably the main reason they won it. I'm really looking forward on the other team too to see how well Colm Cooper has developed. A couple of years ago he came out on the scene, very, very impressive. Great bravery, beautiful variety to his attacking strategies. And again, if Dublin are to win today, I'm sure they'll have to more or less, shut him out as best as possible and prove him what they were against Roscommon the last day.
Hard to believe, Martin. This is his third season playing senior championship football. He's a wonderful, prodigious talent. And of course, they'll be hoping to isolate himself and Mike Frank. And to this extent, on occasions, Dara O'Kennedy, the captain, has withdrawn to the wings. But today they have a very good playmaker, of course, back again in Declan O'Sullivan. Lots of things to consider, lots of things to ponder on this Saturday afternoon here at Croke Park, where the clouds have taken over control of the skies, as it were, and we stand for Oran Navian. Huge explosion of noise from the fans. It's Kerry who won the toss, and they've opted to play from right to left in the first half, which would seem to indicate that they're going to be supported by the wind. Although it's a swirling breeze as ever at Croke Park, never quite able to make its mind up. In the first game there, I thought it was supporting Derry at one stage. Then it seems to be against them, but you never can tell.
I agree with you, Gerard. It's blowing down into the canal end at the moment. I certainly thought in the first half it supported Derry very significantly. It dropped somewhat in the second half, but again, Kerry will be very keen to make a good start to this. Darragh O'Shea will once again try to kind of renew his acquaintance with Croke Park and again have a top-class performance. Beside him also, he has the responsibility to nurse Paddy Kelly into this game. Kelly, young Ballylongford lad, playing his first game here, massive undertaking for him. So Darragh O'Shea has a very, very big responsibility out there today.
Enormous Dublin support in particular, as you'd expect. We're looking for switches and changes just to see what they might come up with. Mark O'Shea is gone, marking Jason Sherlock as the game gets underway. So lots of the tactics to look out for. Should be a good afternoon, let's hope so, as Paul Casey floats it in over the Kerry backs. But they're there in number. Mike McCarthy in particular, their full-back, had been troubled by an ankle injury in the build-up to all of this. That is the new man, Paddy Kelly, going to get away there towards Eamon Fitzmaurice. Up towards Gooch, Colm Cooper, to give him his full name. Back here towards Declan O'Sullivan, one of the great young players in senior football. Back out to Cooper again on his left side. Whipping it high and whipping it over the bar. Great start for the Kingdom. Under 35 seconds gone, good combined play, and Kerry sweep into the lead.
Yeah, and again, significantly, Declan O'Sullivan was involved in that, again, coming back after a broken collarbone. But look at the confidence of that strike, Jersey, put it over the bar.
That was Kerry in full flow, really. Wonderful combined play. Kieran Whelan was down with an injury momentarily while we were watching the reprise of that, but he's back on his feet again. He's okay. Dublin's captain, the man from Raheny. Cluxton kicking it for Dublin, deep. Won again in midfield by Dara O'Shea, looking about. Picking out Declan O'Sullivan once again, who'll need to be very closely marked by Brian Cullen. O'Shea again, huge one down. Taken with some difficulty to get us that man, Cooper, but this time he's outside and wide. Twice he's got on the ball and twice he has spelt danger for the Dublin backs and for Paul Griffin in particular.
Yeah, and Paul Griffin struggled the last day, I thought, quite considerably against Roscommon. That time, somewhat lucky that the bounce of the ball went for him, could have been a goal.
And remember, in terms of the wind this afternoon, for this first half, Kerry are playing supported by that breeze, but it is swirling about. Darren McGee back towards Brian Cullen. This is Paddy Christie. Down towards Senan Connell, lets it drop down as far as Aidan O'Mahony. Towards Mike Frank Russell, dodging away from Senan Connell. Back once again. They build up here with Owen Brosnan. Powerfully built man. Can he lay it off? Well, the shoulder wasn't effectively hit there by Kieran Whelan. Free is taken quickly. Dublin were still not quite ready for it. Don't necessarily have to be. The referee allowed play to continue into O'Sullivan, and there's a free in.
Yes, they're thinking so quickly on their feet at the moment, are Kerry. The referee was about to boot, I think, Kieran Whelan that time. Didn't bother, let the play go on. And again, O'Sullivan was in a very threatening position.
Well, there's a ticking for Kieran Whelan. And there's a free kick coming up for Kerry. Dara O'Kineda to take it. Scorer of a goal and 7 points against Limerick in the replay some 4 weeks ago in Killarney of the Munster final. All of them coming from frees. And here's a good start here. So 2 points to no score. And Dublin really yet to settle. Well, it's a day when Tommy Lyons will be looking for the big men in his side, the Kieran Whelans and the Darren Homans in particular, the experienced players like Christian Robertson, to do the business for him, to settle down this team.
Yes, indeed, and Paddy Christie is having a lukewarm enough year, whereas at the other side of the field, I think Ian Robertson has been a revelation for Dublin since he's come back, Ger.
Again, the role he plays in the team is very interesting, Martin. He will very often drop off the full back and create space and link so well.
Yes, wonderful intelligence, and the way he applies it in particular, and applied it against Roscommon, was very effective.
Cluxton trying to pick out one of his own men. That time it was Darren McGee, but he couldn't hold on to it. But there's a chance with Darren Holman trying to advance. Eamon Fitzmaurice against him. Free in to Dublin. Well, they need a score, even though it's very early stages in the match. A ticking for Eamon Fitzmaurice for the foul that time. The free kick is about 35 metres out. Referee Pat McEnany, former All-Ireland final referee, one of the most experienced around, rated by so many as the best in the business. It'll be Senan Connell from Nafiana to kick this. Judges it well. Dublin get going in the scoring sense after 4.5 minutes.
Yes, and that was a very assured strike that time by Senan Connell, bound to give him confidence and playing in his favourite position at the moment at left half forward.
Well, I mentioned just before the start of the game, Mark O'Shea has gone back to pick up Jason Sherlock. Jason playing at the top of the right for Dublin. Meanwhile, it's Dublin who are digging deep, and Brian Cullen in particular, settling into the role of centre half back. Shane Ryan playing on the right half back, wearing 7. Coming away with this here is Tom Sullivan from Rathmore, who's been having a good season generally, and that's been widely recognised by his peers. Aidan O'Mahony trying to make some headway. Controlled by Dara O'Shea towards Mike Frank Russell, coming very, very far out, a good 55 metres out. Not the best of passes. Paddy Christie is there in charge of the situation, dishing it off there to Darren Holman. They work it to McGee. Always looks up just to try and spot who's available, and it was Robinson who was coming out. Following it was McCarthy, but there too some Kerry support. Worked ahead there by the cornerback. in as far as Paul Galvin. A lot of work for Colin Cooper to do. Paul Griffin's chasing after him. Ball beats them all. Line ball decision goes Kerry's way.
Their movement at the moment is bewildering, Ger, to be quite honest about it. They're moving everywhere. Fabulous interplay among them.
Cooper looking for some options. That's stolen by Paddy Christie, fouled then by Paul Galvin, who pleads his case. Referee not particularly interested. I think he's taken his notebook out and ticked the name of Paul Galvin. He's a very hard-working player, Paul Galvin, up and down the field. Never lets opposing backs come away cheaply with possession. Dublin trying to get motoring down there, but this is seized on well by Tomas O'Shea, getting it out to his brother Dara. Going by Jason Sherlock with some ease, trying to tee it up. Not the most precise of passes. Barry Cahill has it. Cahill standing his ground, making good headway. Some movement ahead of him. In particular, Jason Sherlock had got into space, dragged down, free into Dublin. Good work by Barry Cahill, who's playing in his 14th championship match. And Dara O'Shea gets his name recorded. No booking or anything like that, but the name has been noted by referee Pat McEnany.
Yeah, Dara feels a little bit aggrieved that time, and that he felt it was shoulder to shoulder, but it's quite clear from the pictures that in fact it was into his chest, and a good decision by Pat McEnany.
Conal Keaney didn't have the happiest of afternoons against Roscommon. Wasn't at his most productive, but the frees are important. Can he land it? He certainly can. And in spite of Kerry's impressive flamboyant start up front, they are now back on terms with Dublin. Sides level for the first time. He's a happy, determined campaigner, I'm sure. It would have seemed impossible some 2 months ago that Dublin might be here, this close to an All-Ireland semi-final place, hoping to join the likes of Fermanagh, Derry and Mayo, of course. What a lineup. Who would have bet on it? What a pass, cut out well. Nicely read there by Mark O'Shea. Conal Keaney about to close in on him. Mark, the youngest of the O'Shea brothers, who are starting out today. Kieran Whelan has already been ticked by the referee, and the referee's notebook is out again, and this time it's going to be a yellow card, I think, for a foul on Mark O'Shea. So that looks like the first booking after just 9 minutes, effectively. Tomas O'Shea hitting the free kick into space here. Declan O'Sullivan racing after it. Darren McGee was tracking him. O'Sullivan pleading his case. But the linesman on the far side has said it's going to be a Dublin ball. Let's look at this again here, as Tomas O'Shea was coming away with it, but it was the foul by Kieran Whelan that was recognised by the referee and penalised accordingly. Determined run there by Paddy Kelly, the new man, into the middle of the field for Kerry. Senan Connell. Very unusual for Kerry to bring in a new man right in the middle of a campaign and introduce him as a starter in midfield in particular. Sherlock doesn't care about that. Oh, he had a great chance. A wonderful chance gifted to Jason Sherlock after nearly 10 minutes of play, and he fluffed it, and fluffed it big time. Dragged it right across the face of Diarmuid Murphy's goal, and a lead off for the Kingdom.
Yeah, Kerry are very unsure underneath that high ball, and again, unusually for Jason Sherlock, he snatched at that. He had more time, Ger, I think, than he realised, and again, a great opportunity spurned.
Blood substitution for Dublin as we watch it in reprise again. Senan Connell has just gone off momentarily. Well, that was a real chance for J.O. There's Senan Connell, who's being treated. Player has come on in his stead is Tomas or Mossy Quinn, the number 24 of Dublin. Well, we saw how important missed goal chances were in the first game on the part of Westmeath, and how important they were for Derry to take their first two.
Yeah, might I just make a point actually, Ger? It seems that the wind direction has changed somewhat at the moment and is favouring Dublin now.
That's why I'm always very reluctant to say who's got the breezing drug back. Robbo touching it down here for Alan Brogan. Can he get motoring? Sherlock was coming in. Oh, that was close. Alan Brogan there. There was a little block on it at a critical stage.
Yep, but great credit to Diarmuid Murphy that time. Stood up, spread himself, and again got a foot to the ball. But Brogan missed a great opportunity of a goal that time.
It's going to be a 45, first of the match. And it's going to be centre-half back Brian Cullen who will kick it. From the Skerry's Harps Club. Has enjoyed great success at under-21 level. It's dropping short, dropping to the left, fielded there by Dara O'Shea. He always takes up those positions from the 45s and picks up an immense amount of them. Remember the drawn match against Limerick, down in Limerick in the Munster final. Here's Paul Griffin, played away smartly as far as Darren McGee. Shane Ryan now, nipping into the breach. Well down, delivered towards Brogan. Chance to turn here for Alan Brogan. Oh, he's let the ball run away. Bad decision making on his part. Kicked forward by Tomás O'Shea. Paddy Christie bouncing it around there. Contesting with Dara O'Canada. That should be, well, it ends up being a free ball for Dublin. I've seen those given as throw-ins.
I think it's a good call by Pat McEnany. I think Paddy Christie got his hand around the ball and Derek came in somewhat late. Again, a good decision, I think.
Christie's kick. Kerry trying to block it off. Brogan winning it in for Brian Cullen again. Good movement here by the centre half back, who of course had a spell with the forwards, and this time he's hit it very, very poorly indeed. Dublin's second wide.
Yes, as you said, Ger, actually, I think he started the championship game at left half forward against Westmeath, and again, that was a bad wide by Dublin from a promising position.
Murphy has a very good kick out, but that's fielded brilliantly by Darren Holman, taken down, didn't make any headway. And it's amazing how over the years, Martin, recent years in particular, we've not seen as much clean fielding in midfield, and sometimes it's because county teams don't make as much headway when the man takes it down. Brogan has, this time from the resultant free kick, had an opportunity and he's fluffed it.
Yeah, just getting back to your point, actually, I thought Dublin had a definite enough start, but since then they've come into the game very strongly, and around the middle of the field I think Kerry are struggling somewhat at the moment, and unusually for them, they're actually kicking the ball away. They're not using their possession to optimum advantage.
We've got to remember as well, Tommy Griffin from Dingle, he's down with an injury. I think he might well have started this afternoon, but for that. That's a good catch. This is Tomás Mahan, the blood substitute for Senan Connell. One back here by Aidan O'Mahony. Into the centre. Galvin was available. Running forward here is Darren Holman. Took it smartly. Took control of the situation. On for Kieran Whelan. Likes to take it on the run usually. Trying to go by Eamon Fitzmaurice. On the left boot. Little block came in there. And the sting was taken out of it. And out of it by Paul Galvin. That's Galvin way back in the left corner back position. Wiggling and twisting and turning around there, trying to make some headway, but not getting rid of the ball and leaving it behind in the end for Dublin to kick, and Darren Holman in particular. Joy on the hill as Dublin lead by 3 points to 2. Watch it again here as it was fed back out there to Darren Holman, and he planted it over the bar.
Yes, but in that case there I think Kerry's problems are self-inflicted. They had a number of opportunities to clear the ball, came to Darren Holman after a misplaced pass and a very confident strike through the post.
That's the first time that Dublin have led in the match. Brosnan trying to set something up for Kerry. Mike Frank Russell challenged by Barry Cahill, more than that, fouled. Free kick taken quickly as far as Gooch Cooper, couldn't contain it. Paul Griffin has it instead. Brian Cullen outside of the boot. A lot of work to do, however, for Kieran Whelan. Struggled to keep it in play. Line ball to Kerry. Line ball quickly taken. Dublin will have to react to this smarter as Kerry are getting on with their frees and set pieces very quickly. That's Paddy Kelly on his senior debut in Craig Park. kept in play as far as Paddy Christie. Darrow Kinneady chasing after it. Also chasing after it over there was Owen Brosnan. They get it way downfield, make a lot of headway down into the corner towards Alan Brogan. That's Conal Keaney. Line ball. Into space. Taken well by Mahan. Or by Quinn, I should say. Drops short, however. A lot of pressure on the Kerry backs at this phase of the match. Here's Declan O'Sullivan to take a little bit of the pressure off. They started in whirlwind fashion. 3 men against him, bottled down. Almost closed down completely. Paul Galvin. A real hit and hope one, and the Dublin backs are out quickest. Barry Cahill asserting himself, then lobbing it ahead to himself and going chasing after it, but almost going to get a tangle with Alan Brogan, but Dublin have it. Maintain the pace of the attack. Nice turn here by Jason Sherlock. Trying to curl it in towards Ian Robinson, in between the fullback and goalkeeper on the end line. Ian Robinson making an angle, good block down. Comes back, however, towards Jason Sherlock. Persistent play by Dublin, another very good little block that time by Tomás O'Shea. Comes back once more. Again, Dublin recycle it brilliantly. Out as far as Darren Holman, looking for his second point of the match. He's kicked it high, he's kicked it well, between the posts and over. And Dublin lead by double scores.
Well, there was a wonderful cameo there, Ger, of great defending and eventually a fabulous score by Holman. Again, wonderful, 2 or 3 wonderful blocks, but a very, very good strike by Darren Holman to put it 4 points to 2.
That's 2 out of 2 for Darren Holman. And Kerry haven't scored now for 14 minutes. They've got a chance to break forward now. Tomás O'Shea got that great goal in the Munster final replay. On towards O'Sullivan. Still Declan O'Sullivan. Crashing, a great save by Claxton. That's brilliant goalkeeping. Well, what an attempt by Kerry, and what a response from Claxton. It was Declan O'Sullivan into the corner, and the keeper showed his agility.
Dare I say, Gerville, the save of the championship as far as I'd be concerned. Again, such a creative outlet as Declan O'Sullivan. Took the ball forward that time, seemed to have the goals in his sight, but again, a fabulous piece of anticipation, strong hand, and again, a wonderful save that conceded a 45.
It certainly was all of that, steadily regaining the position he held until a rush of blood saw him sent off in last year's qualifiers, of course, against Armagh. That was some save. Darrow Kinneady looking for something from the movement. They get precisely nothing.
I'll tell you what we have here, Ger. We have a fabulous game of football. There's manic intensity from both sides. Again, it seems at the moment as if Dublin are generally on top, in particular around the middle of the field. Darrow O'Shea seems a little bit sluggish. Paddy Kelly is struggling to get into the game, but Dublin are very, very sharp and tigerish in the tackle.
And just a reminder of the man of the match competition. The number is there at the end of the screen, and just pick your man of the match from the game and ring that number. The Northern Ireland number is there as well, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. Who do you think is the star performer in today's 4th quarter-final Bank of Ireland tie? Barry Cahill from the St. Bridget's Club. Good positioning. Conal Keaney, nobody was tight enough on him. One back well here by Tom O'Sullivan. He'll keep them motoring. Mike Frank Russell gets it forward here towards Paddy Kelly from Ballylongford in North Kerry. Up against the other number 9, Darren McGee, and McGee robs him cheaply. And it's going to be Dublin's possession. A real hint of inexperience there on the part of Paddy Kelly.
Yeah, but credit the urgency of the Dublin players. They have certainly blossomed over the last couple of months. It's a much different outfit than appeared against Westmeath in the early part of the championship.
Once again, it is Tomás Quinn. Mossy up against Aidan O'Mahony. In towards Shane Ryan. Coming back again to Brogan this time. Not hit with the usual authority or the usual accuracy. That's 4 wides now for Tommy Lyon's team, but they do have a decent lead of 4 points to 2. 20 minutes are gone.
Yeah, I think in general Kerry will be very disappointed with their attack. Paul Galvin hasn't got into it. We haven't seen much of Owen Brosnan. The supply into the Gooch is very, very limited, and a lot of players have to start improving if Kerry are to win.
This time the breaking ball is won by Kerry, and Aidan O'Mahony played off here as far as Eamon Fitzmaurice, the Nuke player. Turning around is Declan O'Sullivan up against Cullen. Waiting for support, comes from Tomas O'Shea. Set up that goal chance for Declan O'Sullivan just moments ago. O'Shea towards O'Kineda, having quite a battle in there. Paul Griffin winning this duel. Spills out here towards Brian Cullen. Released nicely as far as Griffin from Kilmacud Crokes. Oof, dropped but regained by Tomas O'Shea. Here comes Paddy Kelly. Doing a little solo, waiting for support to come. O'Shea. Look how deep Dara O'Kineda has come now, leaving space inside. Can Kerry exploit it? Gooch is there, but so too is Paddy Christie. Needed to get it under control, took a little while, but is assertive and dominant and finding his confidence.
And they're certainly growing in responsibility in the back. Paddy Christie in particular is really coming into the game.
Long ball down into space. Away by Mark O'Shea, up as far as Dara O'Kineda. Lots of flow in the game. Here's Paul Galvin, angling one in. Brosnan couldn't hold it. Instead back there is Darren Holman battling. Kieran Whelan prepared to play a roaming job this afternoon, almost as a third midfielder, getting it back there from Holman. Whelan taking it on again. Kelly struggling against him. Well won there by Mike McCarthy, Kerry's fullback, out as far as Dara O'Shea. To the wings where Cooper will have some work to do to keep it in, and he's in Croke Park, not in Shelburne Park, and that's going to be a line ball.
Yeah, one little tactical thing is worth noting. Dara O'Kineda has gone out as an extra midfielder, and he's been followed by Paul Griffin from the corner.
Here's Brogan. Outside of the boot, bad choice. Kerry win it back easily. Mark O'Shea. Here's his brother Dara. Now Colm Cooper taking on Griffin, but in a very deep position near the wings, some 50-60 metres out. Owen Brosnan likes to put the head down and run at opposing defences. This time he links well with Mark O'Shea. Crossing the 45-metre line, fancying his chances. In the wind, swirls around unkindly from a Kerry point of view, and no joy.
No joy indeed, and that time Paul Galvin, I thought, should have moved into space. He was available for the ball. Again, Mark O'Shea may have given the ball to him, because it was definitely a scoring opportunity on.
That was the third wide for Kerry in this game. And they've gone a long time now without scoring. This last score was in the 3rd minute. So the bandaged hero, Senan Connell, is anxious to come back in, and they're going to withdraw Tomas Quinn from St Vincent's. Connell, one of Dublin's scorers, he got a point from a free earlier on. This really could be anybody's match. Cluxton. Well won by Kieran Whelan. Fouled in possession. Free kick for Dublin. Brian Cullen wants to take it. Oof. That time it was Alan Brogan coming across. Ian Robertson might have been the target. Kerry win it back. Misunderstanding. Tom Sullivan hand passing it forward here as far as Dara O'Shea. Feeding it ahead here once again to Eamon Fitzmaurice, bursting from centre half back for Kerry. Released nicely out there. O'Shea forward, broken down by Paddy Christie. Waiting for it is Brian Cullen, showing good awareness. Link-up play here with Stephen Cluxton, down as far as Darren McGee. McGee from Kilmacud Crokes. Oh, that's an awful ball into space. Nobody there at all for it except Tom Sullivan. Dublin drifting back, hitting those aimless passes out, still leading. Dara O'Kineda turning well. Kerry needing a score. Can he provide it? The answer is yes. It's 4-3. And Dara O'Kineda has kicked his second.
Yeah, Dara O'Kineda poses a little bit of order in matters here. Has been a little bit frantic over the last couple of minutes. Kerry have been a little bit slower to the break than Dublin, but again both teams are wasting a lot of possession, but again a lot of assurance and poise that time by O'Kineda to put a fine score between the posts.
Well fetched by Darren McGee, but he lets it drop down. It was Senan Connell was there as well. Ball was handled on the ground. Just in the last 5 minutes, a thought struck me that maybe this Dublin team is showing Kerry perhaps too much respect.
Yeah, certainly a number of Kerry players, to my mind, are playing at half pace. They don't seem to have the same urgency at all as Dublin.
Here's O'Shea, Dara O'Shea, taking on Darren Holman, going down. Paul Griffin, some people might have been waiting for a whistle, never came. Barry Cahill says, I'll take it. And Dublin have a chance to break. Now, can they construct from the back? Plenty of options. Paddy Christie. Robbo back there. This is Shane Ryan, ready to take on Paddy Kelly. And everybody else, including Aidan O'Mahony there. Kicked into space towards Jason Sherlock. Lovely turn. A turn of exquisite quality. He fumbles then. The goalkeeper makes a save. Diarmuid Murphy blocks out as far as Mark O'Shea. And a goal chance has gone a-begging.
And I wonder, has a penalty chance actually gone a-begging as well, Ger? I thought he was pushed in the process as he was about to kick the ball there and may have got a penalty.
Worth seeing that again in a little while. Fitzmaurice. It was some turn by Sherlock. I'd love to see what happened next. That's Paul Galvin. Good run forward. Mike Frank Russell played off as far as Dara O'Kineda. The captain from Ungaeltach back as far as Mike Frank. Trying to tie it up. Cluxton comes, was decisive. Down for Griffin and away to safety as far as Brian Cullen. It's all action. Up as far as Darren Holman. Released outside towards Shane Ryan, who sent that probing ball down for Sherlock just moments ago. Well, chance for a breather. We need it. 27 minutes gone. This is the move again here. And was he pushed there by Mike McCarthy? The referee didn't think so. There will be others who felt there was a justifiable claim for a penalty.
Well, I thought McCarthy tried to play the ball all right, but I think he did get a push in him, and I think it put Jason Sherlock off just at the point of impact as he was to kick the ball.
There's some ball down. Brogan was bearing it on goal, but there was very good defensive work, and the goalkeeper, Diarmuid Murphy, managed to get it clear. But both defences, to some extent, are quite exposed, and we're having quite a few goal chances in the match. I think it was Tom Sullivan who got that vital touch to help out his defence that time and to steal it away from danger. Stealing forward now is Paddy Kelly taking on Darren McGee. Back towards Mike Frank Russell. Here's Dara O'Kineda. Declan O'Sullivan now went closest to a goal for Kerry. Out as far as Paul Galvin. Oh, coming in well there was Darren Holman. He's playing well. Here's Paddy Christie to help out. Swallowed up by Kerry players, and it's a free out to Dublin. They'll be happy with that, but some Kerry people will feel he overheld. That's
dreadful play by Kerry. They're going laterally all the time, and it's not a characteristic of Kerry football. The ball isn't being let into the area where they're strong. Over and back, and they're getting the fate they deserve. Crisp tackling, snuffing out the attack, and again, Dublin will be quite happy, I think, Ger, with their defence in general.
Do you think they're playing into Dublin's hands?
I think so. There's not a quick enough dispatch of the ball at all, I think, from the half-back line. And as a consequence, the Dublin defence are being able to cover off the main threat of the Gooch and Michael Frank.
Shane Ryan, hands and knees, back there against Owen Brosnan. Free to Kerry, taken quickly. They've got a couple of extra players there. Eamon Fitzmaurice was free. Kieran Whelan chasing after him, dragging a jersey. Still going forward, a free to Kerry. Whelan has to be careful, he's being yellow-carded.
Yeah, one other issue too, Ger, I think is worth noting. Dara O'Shea is playing, there he is on the ball at the moment, but he's playing very, very far back in his defence and maybe not giving his attack enough supply or support.
Cooper coming through, looking for a gap. He's found one, it's over, and the teams are level. Level for the second time. 2 points for Colm Cooper, 2 for Dara O'Kineda as well, and it is Dublin 4, Kerry 4.
He's so lithe and elusive and difficult to pin down. Like, for such a light little guy, he's absolutely exceptional if the ball gets to him. And I notice again that Paul Griffin has gone back marking him.
Well, we were mentioning a little while ago that Kerry had gone about 20 minutes without scoring. Dublin have now gone 13 minutes without scoring. Tight match. They're sharing 8 points. 5 minutes to go to half-time. Cluxton. The swirling breeze. Galvin couldn't hold on to it. It's Senan Connell who's onto it in a flash. Back there for Ian Robertson. Bad ball. Cut out rather easily by Paddy Kelly. Justifying his call-up, did well for the under-21s against the seniors recently. Up for Cooper, fisted away by Griffin, back down towards Mike Frank Russell, turning around decisively. Played in here well towards McCarthy, the fullback. Kelly again, wondering, then going forward, spotting a chance, an opportunity, and he's kicked it just to the right. That would have done his confidence an awful lot of good.
Yes, and probably we're wondering what Michael McCarthy is doing out there in an attacking position, coming back out from the Kerry full-back. Well, actually, he's following Ian Robertson at the moment, who has come out as a third midfielder, and Dublin have left Jason Sherlock and Alan Brogan up there as a twin threat inside.
Well, just to remind you that we have a lot of sport coming up. Next, it's Olympics Athens 2004. Boxing, Andy Lee, I think he's up against a Mexican at 5:25 p.m. And trap shooting, Derek Burnett is in action at 10 minutes to 6. Lots of sport to be enjoyed and savoured over the next 2 weeks. Right now, it's Alan Brogan and the Dublin fans who are savouring this moment against Kerry. It's Senan Connell who kicks off the post, back down. Brogan is the sharpest and quickest in. He's pushed, it's a free in. It should be a Dublin score.
Yes, on 2 occasions there, Thomas Sullivan looked very hesitant, was well out in front of the ball, and again allowed Alan Brogan to get the ball before him. And again, when it came off the post, very, very slow in reacting to it.
Free to be taken by Senan Connell. And that's 2 from 2 for Senan Connell. And he restores Dublin's lead. Just before the break now, they're ahead by 5 points to 4.
Yeah, it's hard to decipher a pattern from this game, actually, Gerard. It's going, you know, in both directions, you know, at different times. But I think in general it's fair to say that both defences are well on top.
Colin was beaten for that one, and it comes up as far as Mike Frank Russell. Sweeping in here is Paul Galvin. Galvin with a chance off the post. It happened to Dublin at the other end. It happens to Kerry here, and the breaking ball is won by Paul Casey. Nicely back. And Darren Homan playing everywhere and anywhere. Way down towards the Dublin attack, and Kieran Whelan's after it. He's got men inside. He might not need them. It crashes it off the post. Had he placed it, there's still a chance for the Dubs. Back to Alan Brogan, turning, and he hits it terribly and horribly wide. But the buzz around Croke Park is still about the Kieran Whelan shot that came thundering off the frame of the goal. Should have been a goal, but wasn't.
Oh, he tore them to shreds that time. The Kerry defence just parted like the Red Sea. And again, most unlucky with a wonderful drive that hit the bar.
On the other end, Dublin under pressure. Brian Cullen standing firm, covering a lot of ground, sweeping well with the likes of Paddy Christie. Out as far as Darren Homan. Good quality match. And this time the referee says 2 hops, and it's going to be a free in, an elementary mistake. Well, this is it again, and he really struck an unmerciful shot off the crossbar. He was trying to plant it, just out of luck.
Yeah, that was a thunderous drive altogether, Jordan. It's again a type of score he has got on many occasions before. Very unlucky that time, it must be said.
Well, it gives Dara O'Kineda and the Dublin fans jeering him, and there's only one way to silence that crowd if they're going to do that here at Croke Park, and that's to put it over the bar. And he has put it wide. Maybe the jeering has worked. There's got to be a couple of extra minutes, 2 extra minutes to be played, and Dublin still leading Kerry by 5 points to 4.
Well, certainly both managers will be very, very disappointed with the respective attacks. Again, 4 points for Kerry, 5 points for Dublin. Certainly not what All-Ireland winners are made of.
Well, the object of the exercise is to get into the semi-finals. The winner here will be facing Derry in 2 weeks' time. Taken well by Ian Robertson. Played ahead to Darren Homan. Down towards Brogan. Fingers got to it, but then it's won well by Mark O'Shea. Swung around there by Senan Connell. Referee gives the free kick to Kerry. Heats up just a little bit. just a bit of jostling and pushing on the 45-metre line, and the referee is going to penalise Dublin 13 metres for that stupidity. To Kerry's advantage then. This free kick taken by Tomas O'Shea. Up as far as Colm Cooper from the Dr. Crokes club in Killarney. He's made headway against Griffin before half-time, dragged down in stoppage time. In the second minute of that, it's Cooper causing a bit of consternation, winning the free-in, and a chance for Kerry to draw level.
What is really commendable about Cooper is the way he can accelerate after he gets possession of the ball. Again, drawing the foul that time off Paul Griffin, but again, it's that ability to sprint away, to accelerate, that actually separates him from other players.
Darrow Kinedu's been 1 from 3 from place balls so far. This time he's foot perfect. It's his 3rd point, and it's 5 points apiece. And just a few seconds to go before referee Pat McEnany is going to blow for half-time. Two highly committed teams. Yes, there have been mistakes, but there have been thrills aplenty as well. Plenty of goal-mouth incidents. A lot to talk about, a lot to analyse by our panel at half-time. Some battle in midfield. Kelly against McGee. Cluxton made that wonderful save from Declan O'Sullivan. And that's the final piece of action of the first half of the fourth and final quarter-final of the Bank of Ireland Championships for 2004. Kieran Whelan. He went so close with that cracking shot, and some great play by so many players. Some concern as well for the coaches to address at half-time, but they've got a little time now to settle down their charges, hammer home messages, and tell their teams just how close they are to reaching the All-Ireland semi-final, because at Croke Park at half-time, it's level pegging. Dublin 5, Kerry 5. Let's go down straight away now to our reporter on the sideline today. It's Jim Carney. Jim?
Thank you very much indeed, Ger. Collie Moore, and thanks for staying out to talk to us. We're sorry again that you're missing this, Collie, but what do you think of it and what do you make of it?
There's a lot of aspects of our game that we'll be delighted with, but unfortunately on the scoreboard it's only 5-5, and for the amount of possession we've had, that's a bit disappointing going on at half-time.
Yeah, no goals either side, Collie, and that could have been.
No goals. We had a couple of chances. Jason Sherlock might have had a claim for a penalty. Kieran Whelan had a great shot off the crossbar, and Alan Brogan had one save. But similarly down the other end, Declan O'Sullivan had a good shot, super save by Stephen Cluxton.
Yeah, and it's all to play for in the second half, isn't it, really?
It's all to play for in the second half. We're still in it. We're doing very well at midfield. Our defence is holding out very strong, so hopefully we can push on in the second.
Okay, Collie, thanks for staying out to talk to us. Yeah, thank you. Seamus, it's nice to see you here. We just wished that we were seeing you on the field. That can't be helped for now, but what do you make of it the first half?
Jim, yeah, I think we're rather lucky to be going into half-time 5-5. You know, we're glad to be going in now to try and organise again. Dublin had 2 or 3 goal chances. You know, thankfully someone's praying for us to stop them. And
yeah, the big one that smacked off the crossbar. Your heart must have been in your mouth there.
Absolutely, it looked certain like it was going to hit the back of the net. So thankfully we're very happy that it didn't go in. But you know, I just think outside of that our backs are playing very well as a unit. But you know, we're just around the middle of the field. We're not picking up enough breaks, and we seem to be putting a lot of pressure ball going into our forward. So you know, we'll have to improve an awful lot in the second half.
Fair enough. Okay, Seamus, thanks for staying out to talk to us. And with that, we say goodbye to Collie Moore and to Seamus Moynihan. Lovely to see them here. We just wish we could see them on the field to play. But with that, back to Michael.
Jim Carney, thank you very much. Well, it's Colin O'Rourke and Tony Davis analysing these matches with us today, and the best of luck analysing that gentleman, because it's hard to know what to make head nor tail of that.
It's unbelievable to think it's only 5 points all. Dublin should have the game nearly wrapped up at this stage. I counted 5 goal opportunities they had, never mind scoring opportunities, and they didn't take any of them. But as opposed to that, they're playing quite well. Their full back line are doing well. Now, opposed to that as well, the ball into the full forward line for Kerry is brutal. I'd hate to be playing full forward inside there today because the ball. Colm Cooper isn't 6'4". He wants a ball out in front of him so he can go out and win it. So Dublin are doing very well, but they should be well ahead by now.
Well, it's almost like it's level at half-time, and they're really going to have to start again in the second half, both teams, because they're going to have to sit down and look at that and analyse it for themselves and say, now, there's a few things we have to sort out.
Well, that's right, and of course, they're not worried about the standard of football sure. To me, which is pathetic altogether. The amount of ball that's been kicked away by both sides is absolutely dreadful. It's a total pansies game now, football, the way things are. There's a free for everything out there. Darrow O'Shea hit Barry Cahill a fair shoulder, dumped him back in his arse, a free in. And you know, it's amazing the way that the refereeing has gone now. Every little tip seems to be a free. But standard of football, the standard of kicking from the hand to me was very poor. The Kerry forwards are not moving off the ball. And Dublin really could have this game sewn up.
They could, but they haven't, and that's the whole point about it. We have a break to take right now. We have more analysis on this All-Ireland football quarter-final right after that. Welcome back again to Croke Park. So half-time then between Dublin and Kerry, 5 points apiece it is. Interestingly enough, there are two strikers on the Dublin team, if you want to call them strikers, the way they play their particular system. Alan Brogan and Jason Sherlock. Loads of chances, no scores so far, but the best chance of the half, and it would have been a spectacular goal if it had gone in, was Kieran Whelan's.
Yes, Dublin seemed to be playing Ian Robertson back, sort of in a Tyrone Armagh style back, and the way to counteract it when Kerry have a free back is run straight at them, as Kieran Whelan does, and this is what he really is good at. He got a brilliant goal against Armagh a couple of years ago in similar sort of position. There was no stopping on that, but like as you pointed out, the two main strikers in the Dublin forwards haven't scored from play. In fact, the only Dublin player to score from play is Darren Homan. So there'll be about 6 blue moons tonight, I'd say now. He's popped over 2 points.
He has two very good points.
Good scores as well, and we've criticised them beforehand as well. Where they're going to compete there?
Yes.
They've done very well and won midfield, hands down.
There's no doubt like that Alan Brogan and Jason Sherlock have had their chances. Alan, I'm afraid, just isn't kind of at the races today, and Sherlock has got in for chances.
Yes, he has, and he hasn't got any score from either of them actually. This is the first one we see here. It was at the start of the game, a long ball in, hopeful ball, it breaks. I suppose his natural instinct as a forward is to have a cut, and I suppose he's right. The percentage is that he's going to get a few scores. This is in the end again, dangerous ball in again. Gets past his man, and Mike McCarthy just gets back. But I don't think there's a foul. In fact, here we go. He puts his hand in, can't see from that whether he touched the ball or touched the man. But the way refereeing is, the way people are refereeing the game now, you don't know what's a foul or what's not a foul, actually. But in fairness, I don't think that was a foul. I think there has to be physical contact in the game of football. He got the ball away, took the chance away from Jason. But they had 5 chances and they got no scores from any of the 5 chances.
And for all the chances that they've created, for all the good football that Dublin are playing in this game, they are playing quite well.
Yes.
They could have gone in a goal down, and Cluxton had to come to the rescue.
Yes, and the only Kerry forwards that are causing any problem are Declan O'Sullivan and Colin Cooper. Mike Frank Russell's out. And O'Sullivan is a great man to carry the ball. He's not afraid to take on men and get it the odd wallop. Great shot. Cluxton has to go down low. As you say,
Paddy Bradley kind of shot from the first.
Was, yeah. It was I suppose it's not a bad height for a goalie. One sort of that he can put his hand out there. If it was on the ground, it would have caused him big problems.
Yeah.
But Kerry have big problems up there. Galvin is not sort of in the game very much up front. Darragh Kinnear is not in the game. I'm not impressed by their new man in the middle of the field. I think we'll be seeing Kirby or Hassett or Crowley fairly soon.
Okay, second half of Dublin versus Kerry after this commercial break. Skin and hair, as they say, will be flying tomorrow here at Croke Park when Cork and Wexford come head-to-head. Remember last year between the two sides, Galway and Cork in the minor match as well. That's our big live coverage tomorrow. It's 5 points apiece between Dublin and Kerry. Tony Davis making an interesting point that this year Kerry have allowed teams to get 6, 7 points, 8 points against Dublin.
Dublin in the league, 8 or 9 points before they started playing. Limerick, 7 points after 25 minutes and came back. So really, I suppose, if you were on the Kerry team, you think you're in a great position going in at half-time being level. But they're very lucky to be going in at half-time with level with all the chances Dublin have. Because Kerry will have to up their performance immeasurably. Like Paddy Kelly at half in midfield. Like they have Owen Brosnan who played there against Limerick and did very, very well. Revitalised them. They have Liam Hassett on the sideline. And Paul Galvin has been anonymous in the game. So they have players. I think Kerry are only playing at 50%. Now maybe it's because Dublin aren't allowing them to play, but they're only playing up to 50% of what their potential is.
There's no doubt that Dublin have been very, very busy around the field, Colin. They've put in the maximum effort. You can't fault them for that. But when you do all of that and you're still not winning the match, it has to tighten you up a bit.
Yeah, I suppose Dublin have been much the hungrier team, and you would say that most of the 50-50 things in the game have gone Dublin's way. And you would say, when are Kerry going to start playing? But we have seen Kerry over the years, for the last 2 or 3 years here in Croke Park, big flop on the big day, and you'd wonder about some of their players, have they the heart for the big occasion? Now, Darragh O'Shea has been sort of anonymous in the game up to now. If he makes a big impact on the second half, the three O'Sheas, you would say, are needed to drive Kerry from the back. They need to run at Dublin. They're playing lovely hand-pass football across the pitch, but there's very few players making that drive forward straight through the defence like Whelan did. So, like, you know, the Kerry forwards are going to have to get busier, start running off the ball, because this extra back that Dublin are playing, Robertson back there, is causing them all sorts of problems, and they don't seem to have any idea how to cope with it.
Well, as you've seen for yourselves, Kerry are out in the field. We're still waiting for the Dubs. They'll be out in just a second. While we're waiting for Dublin, just a reminder, of course, the Olympic coverage here on this Olympic channel continues, and that's what's lining up a little bit later on. We'll be wrapping up fairly quickly here in Croke Park after our match, obviously, to try and catch Andy Lee in the boxing there at 5:25. And Derek Burnett involved in the trap shooting also coming up in our Olympics Athens 2004 programme a little bit later on. Still no sign of the Dubs down there, so they have things to think about and talk about.
Well, I suppose they've done very well so far. I think they should come out and get on with it. Does Kerry have all the talking to do? One aspect of the game that Colin mentioned earlier on, we're sitting just above the goal that Kerry were playing into. They didn't even run off the ball at times. The Kerry midfield had the ball, they were holding it up, and now the only one running inside is Colin Cooper, making all those hard runs, trying to tell people where to give the ball. Michael Frank isn't making them, or Dara isn't making them as well, so they have to up their work rate 100% if they want to get any sort of scores in front of the goal.
It's a very warm day, Michael. I think that, Kerry to me are strangely lethargic. They don't seem to have that fire in their belly that you would associate with a team that should be looking not just to win today but go on and win the All-Ireland. Maybe that's the reason why Dublin are taking a longer rest than usual. I think this is going to come down to subs in the end. I think Kerry have the better subs on the bench.
As far as we can see there, and we saw a shot of Jack O'Connor, I gather he hasn't made any changes from what we can see around the field for the second half, so even things stand at the moment.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say he's going to leave things for too long.
Yeah.
But the last time, of course, Kerry were left out here was by Armagh in the All-Ireland final. We all know what happened that day, but I would say Jack O'Shea is down there in that dressing room, and he's saying to a lot of fellas, he's pointing at them and saying, this is a day, how much do you want to win this match? And that's what it's going to come to. You'd say Kerry are, in terms of individual quality, are probably better players, but Dublin at the moment are hungrier for it.
Well, they're back for the second half, so we will commence battle once again. And back to our commentary team once more, to Martin Carney, and first to Ger Canny, of course.
Just wonder there, Martin, Tommy Lyons leaving Kerry out there for a few minutes. Was it a case of let them stew for a little while?
Might have been a little bit about that. Okay, I suppose Armagh taken that kind of behaviour over the last couple of years, but I think Tommy Lyons is probably trying to reinforce with his players that they have a great opportunity this time to beat Kerry, because Kerry have played a lot of harmless football, Michael, or Ger, as Michael said in the studio earlier, and any plan, I think, has been thwarted by an awful lack of movement and effort on behalf of their players.
5 points apiece, half-time, 35 minutes to go to see who will play in this year's All-Ireland football semi-finals. And this time it's Kerry who break fast with the two O'Sheas involved. Dara on as far as Tomas, chasing back Conal Keeney. They free it back towards Dara, who seems to be central to all their plans. Inside towards Galvin this time. Didn't have the greatest of first halves, and that time swung this way and that. Brian Cullen, the guilty party.
Yes, far too over-eager there, I'm afraid, and giving away a very, very soft free.
To Dara O'Kineda, captain by virtue of the heroics of Unguelthut in the Kerry Championship and All-Ireland Championship last year. And he's got it well. Good start to the second half for the Kingdom. So the very first attack then yielding a free in the point to Kerry, and they go back in front again.
Yeah, it must be remembered too, Ger, a lot of these Kerry players have won 2 All-Irelands, and again the likes of Dara O'Kineda must start to show leadership and take greater responsibility, and Dara O'Shea must start pushing forward and not be playing all the time in his own half-back line, which he has been doing in the first half.
I think Dublin will be concerned also, Martin, about the form of Alan Brogan and Jason Sherlock. Brogan 0 from 4 shots on the target, Jason 0 from 2 shots on the target. They need to get scoring. Not a score has come from their inside forward line, and the backs under pressure. Ryan breaking it down as far as Declan O'Sullivan, the man who came close for Kerry in the first half with a goal chance. Frank Russell, not as pacey as he was in the past. Inside towards O'Sullivan. Oh, far too short, far too near to Stephen Cluxton. And out as far as Senan Connell. Motoring away. Aidan O'Mahony's chasing after him. O'Connell looking about to see where the support is coming from. Comes from Darren McGee from midfield. Inside towards Ian Robinson. Nicely off towards Kieran Whelan. Being encouraged by the Dublin followers to go forward again. This time his route to goal blocked, so he has to have a pop for the point. And he's put it wide.
Just to take up on your point, actually, Ger, it's correct to say that the talisman, like in the Dublin forward line, are not wielding an influence. But it must be said that the greater application and the greater attitude has been shown by Dublin throughout the field.
They're fired up. Everybody's revved up with the prospect of getting into the All-Ireland semi-finals. Would you have thought at the start of the championship that Fermanagh and that Derry would be there? Mayo, the Connacht champions, Kerry, the Munster champions, and Dublin have come in through the qualifiers. They work it out towards Paddy Kelly, out as far as Eamon Fitzmaurice. Back to Kelly again on his debut. Missed the league championship because of problem with shin splints. Cooper couldn't hold that one. Out as far as Paul Casey from Lucan Sarsfields. Casey today playing in his 12th championship match. Galvin's persisting. Dublin show composure. Christie wallops it into space. Brogan leaping. Kerry win it back to O'Sullivan. Now it's Tomas O'Shea. Back once again to Mike McCarthy and Fitzmaurice. They free it out into the centre here towards Tom O'Sullivan. The Garda from Rathmore. Inside towards Brosnan, a man with great upper body strength. Good explosive ability. Got a great goal against Limerick in the replay. Good ball inside to O'Kineda, and that ball goes over the bar. Darragh O'Kineda kicks his 5th. Good combined play by Kerry right from the time Tom O'Sullivan set them in motion. Well, it's a lovely sweeping movement, and Kerry were seen to very good effect, and the completion here was exquisite by Darragh O'Kineda.
Yeah, O'Sullivan might have started it, but Brosnan took it up very effectively, and again, great vision to spot O'Kineda, and again, the quality of the pass is what made it.
So it's a Cosgrove, Ray Cosgrove, who's being prepared on the sideline in front of an attendance today, by the way, of 69,012. Darren McGee hoping to send the Dublin fans home happy, but they've made a poor start to the second half and trail by 7-5. McGee dragged back here by Paddy Kelly. Free end then, which Senan Connell is preparing to kick. 2 from 2 so far, almost 5 minutes into the second half. Taking his time. Breeze swirling into his face. Hits it with precision. Very much on form with the freeze. Not all that long ago, these Dublin fans were wondering where were they going to get an assured and consistent free taker. Yeah, Connell is 3 from 3.
Yeah, and speaking of breeze, Ger, I would think actually the breeze is favouring Kerry in this half again. It seems to have changed during half-time.
The vagaries of Croke Park. Darragh O'Shea beaten in the air by Darren Homan. Kerry win it back, and it's Aidan O'Mahony dropping it deep into the inside forward line. Frank Russell struggling to get it away from Shane Ryan. Ryan standing his ground to Paddy Christie. Looking around and then turning back in again. Quick readjustment by Kerry's half forwards to try and close the gaps. Darren Homan. It's measured. Is it going anywhere? Senan Connell taking on O'Mahony. Enterprisingly across towards Ian Robertson. Good defensive work back there. Good play indeed by Mike McCarthy from Kilcommon, the same club as Sean Kelly, the GAA president, comes from.
Yes, touch was very assured that time, and again, speaking of touch, it must be said that the likes of Michael Frank today, his touch seemed somewhat clumsy, Ger.
Darragh O'Shea. This is Brosnan, good turn. Needing support, getting it from Galvin. 65 metres out when he drops that one in. Cooper's after it. Cluxton takes it into his chest safely, sun into his eyes, and away to Paul Casey, roared on by the Dublin fans, their side behind by a point. This is Brian Cullen, nicely across the line as far as Darren McGee. Dropped in towards Robinson, might run on for Brogan. The goalkeeper hesitated, and tantalisingly across the goal mouth and over the line and out and wide. It was close. It was Brogan who was decisive, won his race, little flick, and it went unrewarded, and Kerry got away with it.
For about the fourth time today, actually. That was very, very unlucky. Very, very clever finish. Deserved better.
No joy whatsoever for Brogan with his finishing, but Eamon Fitzmaurice is battling as ever at centre-half back. Teacher from Dingle. Down along towards Paul Galvin, who's a teacher in Cork. Playing it back in here again from whence it all came. Fitzmaurice dropped in towards Gooch. Broke down. It was intended for Mike Frank. Won by Shane Ryan instead. Showing his rugged abilities to take the ball. Take some punishment with the shoulders as well. Get it out as far as Darren Homan, who's composed. Into space. Jason Sherlock has a chance to hold on to it. Two players peeling right and left. One of them is Brogan. Goes right. Nice cut inside. Still Brogan. And he has knocked it wide. Inexplicably wide from a very good situation. And he's having a horrible time of it. And his manager is feeling it.
And his confidence seems to have deserted him, because that was a lovely little touch from Sherlock into Brogan. Again, I don't think he's had any score from about 5 or 6 opportunities.
It's 0 from 6 so far for Alan Brogan. Meanwhile, Paul Casey toe poking it back to Conal Keeney. Fitzmaurice was next in with the boot. It's going to be a free to Dublin. Taken quickly. Cut out really smartly in there by O'Shea. Out it comes once again. Kelly getting it as far as Dara O'Shea. Likes to get on the ball. They like to feed it to him. Ahead here for Owen Brosnan. 40 metres out. Goes by Cullen. Not too far ahead for his midfield partner, Paddy Kelly. And Christie is back. Secure as you like. And freeing it out as far as Darren McGee. Nervous moments at either end of the field for both teams. Dara O'Shea again, free kick to Kerry this time. He takes it quickly. Bad marking by Dublin. Cluxton comes out, flops at it, gets it out as far as Mike Frank Russell. The follow-up by Russell, and it skims right across the face of goal, and it goes wide. And Cluxton is furious with his backs.
Yeah, because there's a 3-1 situation there with Kerry forwards in the with the advantage. Again, great vision from Dara O'Shea to put the ball through, and again, Cluxton very, very alert to come out that time. It's
a game which has a real raw nerve to it, and that's a total of 6 wides now by Kerry.
Yeah, and it must be said, Gerard, both teams, a lot of the passing is very, very aimless in it. And one thing that has surprised me today is the lack of movement in the Kerry forward line. With the exception, I must say, of the Gooch, the rest of them are very, very static, and that's surprising.
It's poor, but there's a place in the semi at stake. Dara O'Shea trying to round Shane Ryan. Here's Colm Cooper against Griffin. Griffin just to pin him out there. They work it inside towards Brosnan. Again, Homan coming in with the challenge. There's support. It's a bad pass. Released only as far as Paul Casey. Dublin stand firm and Dublin advance. Now they look for an equaliser. Senan Connell. Up into the corner here towards Alan Brogan. This time he holds on to it. Not enjoying much luck in front of the posts. Trying to set something up for McGee. Waiting for support to come from Darren Homan. 2 points so far. This one is far too near. Goalkeeper Diarmuid Murphy. And Kerry can counter-attack with Dara O'Shea. Down towards Declan O'Sullivan. Lots of gaps. Kerry trying to expose gaps down near the railway end, down towards Hill 16, which is still being constructed. Gooch Cooper striking it off the post, back down to O'Kenada, and he's buried it in the back of the net after 46 minutes. Dara O'Kenada has scored a goal and 5. The last day out, it was a goal and 7. He has swept Kerry into the lead by 1-7 to 6 points and came down off the post, and waiting for him was O'Kineda, and he was assured and he was calm.
Yes, and he was alert and decisive as well, Ger. That was a fabulous score, but again, Gooch did all the spade work. Huge amount of running, nobody else doing it, but again, that boy's experience, Conage's experience, is what made that.
Liam Hassett is just coming in place of Mike Frank Russell, who had a disappointing day, an unrewarding afternoon, but Kerry lead, and it's all about the squad system. And it's about getting into the semis.
And would it be fair to say, Ger, that's against the run of play?
I think so, because Dublin missed a lot of chances, but they're still in it, and there's still plenty of time. Broken inside here, one back there by Mark O'Shea, challenged by Senan Connell, and that's going to be a line ball. In the restructured Kerry attack, we'll tell you about it in a minute as we watch Darren McGee. Not the best of balls towards Senan Connell. Now Alan Brogan, neat turn inside by Brogan. 20 metres out, going across there was Hassett, the freshman in, supporting Aidan O'Mahony. They scramble it out. Shane Ryan trying to scramble it back in towards Darren McGee, outside of the boot. They look for something, they get absolutely nothing. Oh, that's terrible.
Unfortunate, a little bit of panic is setting into the moment, and again a lot of disjointed football again when situations are ripe for plucking.
Well, Tommy is up and down the sideline having made his changes. Ray Cosgrave is back in the substitutes section again. I was mentioning changes. Declan O'Sullivan has gone into the corner, that's top of the left. Owen Brosnan has gone into play on the 40. Meanwhile, Kerry are also preparing William Kirby. He might come to midfield, and he might possibly replace Paddy Kelly, the rookie in there. Here's Brian Cullen. Again, lobbed away. It's a very wasted opportunity there of building an attack. It looks all grand and wonderful hitting it at the outside of the boot, but if you're giving away possession easily, as Dublin did there, it's costly. Mike McCarthy. This is Hassett, trying to make an impact immediately here. Beating Shane Ryan initially. Ryan gets back goal side. Still it's with Hassett. And there's a message in that kick, I think, to Jack O'Connor and the selectors. This is a man who should be in there, and a man who could do a really good job for the Kingdom. He looked very composed, hit it fluently, and it's swept in between the big posts.
Yeah, but he's been around the block so often, Ger. Again, his experience is bound to tell over the last 20 minutes or so. Again, O'Sullivan very influential in the early part of that move.
And the referee, Pat McEnany, giving the free kick to Dublin here. Dublin with only a point to show for some 15 minutes play in the second half. Not good enough in an All-Ireland quarter-final. There's Paddy Kelly, belting it away down towards O'Sullivan. Nicely released there towards Paul Galvin. Holding it up, trying to turn inside. Cullen does so. Got support. Brosnan taken down, 20 metres out. And that's going to be a free in for Kerry, and the referee might like to have some words.
Again, great running from Brosnan that time, as we can see, and again taken down by, I think it's the centre half back. But again, I think he has benefited from his move to the centre half forward position.
Well, the referee noting the number there of Brian Cullen. I didn't see any yellow card, so it's just a ticking. 1-8 to 6 points. And a chance for Colin Cooper to get his third of the day. Nicely done. First to come from a free. And it's Kerry who are very firmly in the driving seat, and Paddy Kelly is going off, and this man's coming on, and that is William Kirby to steady things down at a stage in the game where Kerry are in the ascendancy. Dublin have lost a couple of very, very good chances in front of the Kerry goal, and they are proving immeasurably costly.
Yeah, and you can see that goal has injected far greater urgency into Kerry in the last couple of minutes, Ger.
Here's Ryan. It's a poor ball by Shane Ryan. And Dublin have a player down injured at the moment. I think it may be cramp. Alan Brogan, player who is down receiving the attention. Dr. Pat Duggan is in to attend to him, just to check on him. It is a warm afternoon. Johnny Crowley is also being prepared. Wonder if we will see Johnny Crowley in this match. He's been one of the great forwards over the years. He's been a peripheral figure in the last couple of matches for Kerry. And the jeering and cheering you hear in the background is one of the water boys and water bottle men. Went down slipping on the ground. Might even have been the Kerry doctor, I'm not quite sure about that. Anyway, play continues. Kerry trying to build with Paul Galvin. Out as far as Liam Hassett. Early ball in. Dropped down there by O'Sullivan. Breaks loose again towards Darren McGee, and Kerry needing scores big time. Paul Griffin. On towards Kieran Whelan. Towards Senan Connell, but it was an awkward enough angle as that ball was dished out by Whelan. Might have been in a better position himself before he passed the responsibility to Connell. They have a free in any case.
Yeah, so much of the Dublin effort has been heroic throughout, but somewhat chaotic as well. And again, 6 points is a very poor reflection on what has been territorially, I would say, a dominant performance by Dublin.
So a second time of the afternoon for us to see Tomás or Mossy Quinn come in. He came in as a blood sub earlier on, and he's coming on now as a substitute for Conal Keeney. Senil Connell about to kick this free. Was on target and had to be on target. It's his 4th pointed free of the afternoon, and it's only Dublin's 2nd score of the second half, which is turning out to be bitterly disappointing for the Metropolitans.
Yeah, but there's still a good part of the game to go yet, Ger. And again, if they get the grip again at midfield that they had in the first half, and if J.O. and Alan Brogan could come to life, I still think they could go on and certainly put it up to Kerry at worst.
It's Brian Cullen who is receiving the attention. Cullen playing in just his 9th championship match this afternoon. And this is the role he was playing at minor level, of course, at centre half back. And he's going off because there's a requirement for a blood substitution. And the player who's coming on now as a blood substitution is Johnny McGee. Murphy kicking it deep into the centre towards Dara O'Shea. He's now taken a grip in midfield because Holman and McGee have dropped their intensity in the second half. Back there battling as Tomás O'Shea. Winning it, however, is Alan Brogan, recovered from the strain he was feeling earlier on. But Cooper with a great steal. Gooch Cooper has the option of feeding it ahead, does really well. And that was Kirby going forward, and that's put over the bar. William Kirby getting into the action immediately, and it means that the 2 subs brought on in this second half, Hassett and Kirby for Kerry, have both scored.
Yeah, but what a wonderful piece of play at that time by the Gooch. He robbed possession from the Dublin defence where he had no right to get the ball, and again his vision and the support play from Kirby was really noteworthy.
So lots and lots of switches and changes. 6 points between the teams, 15 minutes to go. It's up to Kerry to be assertive and just take a firm command of the situation. Up to Dublin to fight back. Don't forget our man of the match. There are 2 premium tickets to the Bank of Ireland Football Championship semi-final of your choice, plus bed and breakfast for 2 people in a Dublin hotel on the night before the match. And they're the numbers that you've got to ring. Tell us who you think is today's man of the match in the 4th of the Bank of Ireland quarter-finals. Battling here is the goal scorer for Kerry, Darrow Kineda, back towards Liam Hassett, taking on Ryan once again, showing his strength inside there for Declan O'Sullivan. Switched into the inside forward line, playing in the corner. Man who's marking him now is Barry Cahill. Brosnan teeing it up there. It's Gooch again, fleet-footed as ever. nicely laid back, awkward enough kick, but that's a smashing kick, and it's over the bar, and another one for William Kirby. 2 in a row. Kirby from Tralee, certainly announcing his arrival here at Croke Park. Can't do any better than that. 2 from 2, and 111 to 7 points.
Yeah, Gooch again, very influential that time, quick hands, and again, wonderful support by Kirby. Kerry all of a sudden are very, very assured, seem to be in the driving seat. Dublin need goals fairly soon.
I think it's fair to say that as this game has opened up, and it's opened up considerably, Kerry have just taken a command, and it has suited them. There's Fitzmaurice, back once again to Declan O'Sullivan, and they're shooting for fun at this stage. O'Sullivan's first point, and it's all going brilliantly well from a Kerry point of view. What can the little general do?
Very hard to know what he can do at the moment if they're not going to get scores at the other end. But again, O'Sullivan, for a guy who broke his collarbone recently, Ger, is doing very, very well, showing a lot of bravery. And again, that score certainly has been a reward for his hard work.
Well, they're preparing Ray Cosgrove to come on, and Ian Robertson will go off. By the way, Brian Cullen has just come back in the last couple of minutes. Ray Cosgrove's going in place of Robertson, but they've also got another injured player down at the moment, Kieran Whelan. So Cosgrove is on. Can he regain the touch he had in 2002? That's Ian Robertson. No joy for him this afternoon, but then no joy for Dublin's inside forward line. When you look around you, Kieran Whelan struck the post. He's on the 40. No score from him. Nothing from Brogan, nothing from Robertson, nothing from Sherlock, and you can hardly win quarter-finals with that kind of a return from the key men in your forward line. Well, Whelan is going to limp on. Dublin's chances are limping on at this stage as well. They need a goal. Ryan. Cosgrove is rising up for it, doesn't take control of it, however, but Galvin does. Dara O'Shea out as far as Cooper again, released nicely as far as Hassett. Liam Hassett looking around, feeding it inside towards Declan O'Sullivan. It breaks nicely for Cooper, taking on Griffin, 13 metres out, but an awkward angle. Collins near him. They get it back as far as Hassett. Cooper went on the deck, enterprisingly over, could have gone anywhere, held up there momentarily by Darren McGee, spills out as far as Alan Brogan, and the Dubs are away again. Will they face a blockade, however? Back there minding the house is Mark O'Shea, rather. This is Tomas O'Shea, family affair. Uncle Paddy very disappointed, I'm sure, to be out of the championship. His side, Westmeath, losing to Derry. Hassett, great block by Shane Ryan, on as far as Cooper. Everything's going right for the Kingdom, and Cooper knocks it over the bar in impressive fashion, and he's got 4 points. One of the stars fed in here as far as Cooper. As you look to the reverse angle, whether you look at this way or that, Cooper has the Dublin defence all over the place.
Yeah, and every break is going their way at the moment. That little block again came to Cooper, and again just put it between the posts. So simple when things are going well for you.
Johnny McGee is on now. Kieran Whelan is off, hampered by injury in any case. Might have been a different story had that ball ended up in the back of the net in the first half, but then again Kerry could say Declan O'Sullivan had a right good goal chance as well, which was stopped by Cluxton. Stopping this time is Mark O'Shea. He's tied up Jason Sherlock. Done really well. They work it out as far as Galvin. 10 minutes to go. They need to just play out time and do nothing silly. Tomas O'Shea launching another attack. The last 6 shots on the Dublin goal by Kerry forwards have been 6 scores. Shane Ryan trying to do something about the trend. Fitzmaurice came in rather half-heartedly in the tackle that time, and it's Ryan who battles. Casey spreading it over here towards Johnny McGee, thumping it in towards Cosgrove. Fisted away there unceremoniously by Aidan O'Mahony, and O'Mahony gives the line ball to Dublin. Taken inside to Senan Connell. Back towards Alan Brogan. Into Connell again. There's a gap. He's dragged back. And the man who drags him back is Mike McCarthy, the fullback of Kerry, and the referee will want a little word with him for that.
Yeah, cynical foul that time, nothing vicious in it or anything, but he saw the danger. He just made sure that you're not going to get past and score a goal against me today.
So a yellow card for Mike McCarthy. A yellow card per team.
Yeah, and at the moment, Jared, must be said that Kerry are freewheeling. Like, they were so sluggish early on, but freewheeling at the moment.
Connell kicks his 5th point, 5 from 5. It's all very well, but there wasn't enough threat elsewhere. And when there was a threat, it needed to count. They may not have had the best of luck, but then you got to make that luck. And they are trailing well by 113 to 8 points. Declan O'Sullivan has been replaced by Johnny Crowley. So a big cheer for Johnny Crowley. He's a very popular player, man from Glenflesk. O'Sullivan still coming back into the Kerry team. He's had a bad shoulder injury, so a chance to rest him and a chance to see what Johnny Crowley can do.
Yeah, but he's had a marvellous game today, in all fairness to him, Ger. After such a long period out of the game, he was really influential and decisive at different times of the game.
Well, he's one of the stars of modern day football. This is another one, Gooch. Following it there is Paul Galvin. Back here towards Brosnan. They work it out towards Hassett. It's just target practice. This time they're off target.
I suppose the defining moment in the game, Ger, would have been that goal by O'Connaja, but I certainly think earlier on that ball that hit the crossbar, had it gone in, would have given a completely different complexion to the game.
So, more sport to look forward to. After this, of course, we'll be switching over to our Olympic studio in Montrose, where Athens 2004 continues, and the big events to look forward to immediately. Andy Lee's fight at 5:25, and then there's a lot more action as well immediately after that. That's Alan Brogan, who gets himself into trouble and dragging down Aidan O'Mahony. Quite a senseless act. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. A calmer moment. He's got a yellow card. Well, from being a promising situation for so long in the first half, it's all turned sour and horrible for Dublin. And the Kingdom would look to be on their way for a match-up with Derry in the All-Ireland semi-final. Ball spills into the centre here towards Galvin again. He may have been regarded as anonymous in the first half. He did some work, I thought, but he's getting on the ball a lot and foraging deep. What about Mike McCarthy, the fullback? Ryan's after him. Well, Shane Ryan has conceded the free kick, but he's one of those battling game performers, and he will try his heart out.
Yeah, and I think the big thing in this half, Ger, is that Kerry, once they got that goal, have controlled possession an awful lot better. They're not conceding possession to the same extent as they were earlier on, and the passing that was so poor has become a lot sharper and better.
5 minutes to go. It's 1-5 for Kerry, scored by Dara O'Connaja. This is the 30th free kick, and it produces a wide. Kerry just going through the motions. Dublin seem to have lost their sense of belief. Jack O'Connor doing a really good, steady job as Kerry's boss, having won the National League, remember, back here against Galway at the very beginning of the month of May, then winning the Munster title. And they're close now to an All-Ireland semi-final appearance. Not bad in your first year in charge in a county where standards are always expected to be high. Referee going to throw the ball in. Last man up is Dara O'Shea.
Yeah, and Darragh O'Shea's fitness levels today, I think, will have benefited from this game in Croke Park. I still think he's only playing at about 80% of what he was playing at a couple of years ago, Ger. But the second half has been much more purposeful and positive than he was earlier on.
Got to remember that Darragh has an awful lot of football play. This is his 46th championship match this afternoon, and you consider that the man who started out the day alongside him, Paddy Kelly, was playing his first. Here comes Eamon Fitzmaurice. Good ball inside for the flying Galvin. He really is flying, zipping through the Dublin defence and knocking over his first point, and he'd be very pleased with his second half performance, which may have silenced some of his critics.
Yeah, I thought he looked very quiet in the first half, didn't seem to get into the game at all, but that time again, wonderful support play, and again, very confident on his left foot to score a very good point.
Ryan again. Only 3 points for Dublin in the second half. Can they get something else? Alan Brogan late in the tie, and they get a free kick. So it's going to be Senan Connell to kick. 5 frees converted so far. That one's gone astray. Dublin's chances are going astray. In fact, they're going down the Liffey rather than the Swanee, and they're going down very quickly. Not a good year, 2004. John Sheehan is about to come on. They're the scoring chances. Just 8 out of 24 for Dublin, 15 out of 29 for Kerry. Much healthier return, just over 50%. So there is John Sheehan, who's in. And the player going off here is Tomás O'Shea.
And I thought Tomás O'Shea actually played very well. And I think what Jack O'Connor at the moment is doing is just giving his bench a run and give John, reacquaint John Sheehan with Croke Park once again.
Well, interesting where scoring chances are concerned. Dublin have only created 9 scoring chances in 33.5 minutes of the second half so far. They work it in here again towards Mossy Quinn on the end line, back towards Jason Sherlock. Hasn't scored late in the game. Chance to impress, and he hammers it into the corner. A moment for Jason Sherlock to remember from this quarter-final. 6 between them, the goal coming in the 69th minute. Jason Sherlock's first score, impressively hit and decisively positioned into the corner from the reverse angle. He did well, good finishing, but way too late.
Yeah, trademark score, and again a similar situation to the first half actually, Ger, except that time the accuracy didn't desert him.
It's his 6th ever goal, by the way, in championship football. Shane Ryan. Now Johnny McGee. Up towards Jason Sherlock again. Going one-on-one in there. Disted away this time. And Kerry, I think, have decided that's enough. Mark O'Shea holding on to it. As far as his brother Darragh. We're into time added on for stoppages. William Kirby, scorer of 2 fine points. Inside for Darragh O'Kinney, who had a great game. Back in again towards Cooper to finish it off. And that's finished off all right, but it's finished wide. And there's going to be 4 additional minutes. The crowd getting a bit excited. Surely the Dublin fans don't think they can get it back at this stage. 2 goals in 4 minutes.
Can't see it happening, Ger.
Shane Ryan. The turn here is by Senan Connell. The crowd are roaring them on. Nicely inside from McGee, back towards Senan Connell. They'll have to try and work it. Fitzmaurice is the next obstacle. Free in, 13 metres out. Points no good. So just wonder if after this booking of Fitzmaurice, which is coming up next, they might just try and work it in. That's 2 yellow cards against Kerry defenders. Mike McCarthy earlier, and now Fitzmaurice.
Yeah, no more than a moment or two ago, I think what Eamon Fitzmaurice did that time was very, very deliberate.
Brogan getting it back, trying to work it in. He's going for it near post. Stopped well by Diarmuid Murphy, and for his troubles, he wins a free out. Well, they had to do something here. It was not a particularly explosive shot, and the goalkeeper was able to get comfortably down and get the body behind it. So about another 2 minutes to go. The end of the road for Tommy Lyons for this season. They recovered well after the trauma of losing to Westmeath. Their best performance was against Roscommon 2 weeks ago. They started impressively against Kerry, but couldn't match Kerry's intensity in the second half. Players like Colm Cooper ripped holes in the Dublin defence. Johnny Crowley now coming in here, fouled by Barry Cahill. Aidan O'Mahony is being replaced by number 21, Sean O'Sullivan. Bit of match practice to his championship appearances. So Kerry have used all of their 5 options as subs. So 114 to 1-8 in the last minute and a half or so of the game. Cooper striking, and he has put it over the bar. 5 points for Colm Cooper. 115 to 1-8. So we're looking at Kerry versus Derry, and before that Fermanagh against Mayo. The bookies will have it all worked out already, I'm quite certain. They'll say it's on for a Kerry-Mayo final. Well, I wonder what you think.
Well, certainly that's a repeat of the 1997 one, and that was one of the worst finals in living memory, but certainly we'll hopefully get a better one this time. That's if they reach the final.
Exactly. Worked in here again towards the substitute, Sean O'Sullivan. Well, the record book would show that he scored. Drops well short, however. Cluxton beaten just once. Off they set again. O'Mahony, one of the subs, Declan O'Mahony. Well fielded there by Mark O'Shea. Well, the 4 minutes of additional time has now been played. One very decisive and definite victory here. It's the Munster champions Kerry. Colm Cooper finished with 5 points. 4 of them, or 3 of them rather, coming from play, 2 from frees. And overall, they will be satisfied to have made it safely through for a match-up with Derry in a fortnight's time. They had a very comfortable lead at the end, and the final score reads Kerry 1 goal and 15 points, Dublin 1-8, so Kerry by 7.
So, Joe Canny, thank you very much indeed, and to Martin Carney as well. And that, I'm afraid, is where we're going to have to sign off this evening from Croke Park. We're back again tomorrow, of course, for those All-Ireland hurling semi-finals. We're on the air at 1:30. That's in time for the minor match. I hope to see you then. In the meantime, bye-bye.